Welcome to NOCLIP, the podcast that's like a book club for people who don't think that books reward them enough for being good at them. I'm Chad Rutherford.
And I'm Andy Kinney.
And today, for the 200th episode of NOCLIP, we are going to be talking about Minecraft, a game that was developed and published by Mojang Studios, released in 2011 on Linux, Mac OS, Windows, Android, I hate you so much, iOS, iPad OS, Xbox 360, Raspberry Pi, Windows Phone, PlayStation 3, Fire OS, PlayStation 4, Xbox One, PlayStation Vita, Wii U, TV OS, Nintendo Switch, the new Nintendo 3DS, Chrome OS, PlayStation 5, and the Xbox Series X and S.
But first, and give us a like, a rating, or a subscribe. It would be greatly appreciated.
So, this is going to be the final episode that we do with the name NOCLIP. It is, I guess, less dramatic than if it was our final episode altogether, but we still have big plans that you don't care about.
And if you're me and only me, this has been a long time coming.
Yeah, well, and we've at least had like I've noticed we get vanishingly few comments on YouTube videos, which is not horribly surprising. But of that, there has been at least one person who's been like, did you know that there was another NOCLIP?
Right. Yeah, we do get a large percentage of questions that we do get asked are about that. Yeah.
So it's been a thing that we've been thinking about for like a year, essentially. And so this is coming out on October the 3rd, which is a weird time for it to come out. But it is our 10th anniversary, and it's episode 200. The fact that these things lined up was in fact not a master plan of ours, though retroactively I should say that it was, which is why we have been putting out episodes slower this year. It was because it was a big part of our master plan to have episode 200 fall on our 10th anniversary. And it felt like those were good enough coinciding events that we should do the name change at that time. So that is what we are planning to do. This is episode 200. This is our 10th anniversary. We're celebrating NOCLIP right now. But we're also saying farewell to NOCLIP right now. NOCLIP is dead. Long live NOCLIP. The new name was, in fact, your brainchild. So I don't know if you want to be the one to say it first.
Sure. Yeah, like we've kicked around ideas for a name for a long time. Like I've wanted to change the name for like probably over 5 years now. So yeah, this is something we've talked about off and on. And we can never really agree on anything fully. Classic. And so there's a band that we like that has a song called Describing the Sky. And I don't know how I learned this, but like apparently that's not just something they came up with. It's like a creative writing exercise. Where the prompt is just to try to describe the sky, because it's like a difficult thing to do, and you have to be creative about it. Go figure. And and one of the ways I was trying to come up with names is what is that called when you like? Is it like it's not a portmanteau? I feel like there's all these different words, but like if you were to say like speak of the level, which is like an example of a name that I came up with at one point, where you like combine phrases. Anyway, it doesn't matter. I was trying to do it that way.
It is sort of a portmanteau. Yeah, it's also sort of that category on Wheel of Fortune that's called like this or that.
Yeah. So yeah, that's kind of how I was trying to come up with names, like take things from video games and combine it with like an everyday phrase like that. And then so anyway, I learned that about describing the sky, and then like that just kind of came to me as like describing the skybox. Which is the new name. Surprise.
Oh, wow. No.
And I like that because, yeah, like it's a book club style conversational podcast where like we're trying to get across our ideas about the game. So it's like we're kind of like describing it, you know, like trying to capture something about it. So I think it's a nice fit. And I'm happy with it. Maybe 5 years in the oven was just the right amount of time.
Yeah. I like it because we unintentionally named fans of the podcast scribes, which fits
Right.
weirdly well with describing, like, because it's in there.
Right.
So we don't have to change that. Not that it had anything to do with the name NOCLIP before.
Right.
But that tickles, man. Also, as we were coming up with names, we realized that we were rapidly approaching that Futurama episode where they said that the only two uncopyrighted names are Poplars and Tasticles.
Oh, yeah.
and like everything that we came up with that we liked, you could Google and there would be something with that name.
Right.
So it was like this took a long time, just sort of generally, to hammer out something that we wanted, and then also with all of the branding and shit having to do that.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so that is it. This will be the last episode with the name NOCLIP. Do not become afraid if the names in your subscriptions and the branding suddenly changes, even though some people are still gonna not know what the fuck happened. That
Right.
it happens. That's fine. But yeah, so that will occur. Also, if you go to our website right now, there should be, and we'll see how this pans out. Maybe I cut this out if timing doesn't line up. An article that I've been writing as part of our 200th episode spectacular, which was not the name of it until Andy came up with the layout for the first page of the article in the first place, where I've ranked my 100 best games of all time in the style of the 2001 issue of Game Informer that also did this, which is a thing that I've been wanting to do for a long time. And also, people have been posting lists in our Discord recently and asking us about our top games. And I'm like, did somebody leak it? I don't think they did. But it has been kind of suspicious to me. So I'm glad to finally get it out into the world. But that's all of our upkeep.
Yep. Happy NOCLIP Day.
Happy NOCLIP Day. Minecraft. Minecraft is a survival game. It's a crafting survival game. And it is debatably the most popular game in the entire world.
Mm-hmm. Best-selling game of all time.
Yeah, the best-selling game of all time, and a force that humankind is unready to reckon with. And neither of us had played it.
Yeah.
Despite doing a video game podcast for a decade.
Right. I think it's, at least for me, just because of the age we are. Because I remember hearing about Minecraft for the first time when I first started college. There was two people that I was friends with in a class that were like talking about it when it was like basically brand new, I think. And that was the first time I ever heard of it. And I just remember like looking into it at one point and just like not getting it. Yeah, like I don't know. I was only like 18 or 19 at the time, but I feel like it was one of the first times I ever felt like I was getting older. Because I was just like, I don't understand the appeal of this at all. And then, yeah, so it's just something I just never sought out or tried.
Yeah. I think because I heard about it around the same time. And my inclination is that I got it in the sense of like what it was and why people would like to play it, I suppose. But it didn't speak to me on a personal level. I think I got an email a couple of years ago from Mojang that was like, we're migrating your Mojang account. And I was like, I have a Mojang account. So I think I did download it back in the day, but I don't believe that I ever actually like ran an executable for it. So that's interesting. And yeah, so I and if you've been around here for the last couple of years, you might recognize that survival games are not our strong suit, our preferred genre. We don't have a lot of experience with them. And I say this because of the time that we played Valheim, essentially.
Right.
I feel like there was at least one other one, but maybe I'm insane. I might be. But if you're unfamiliar, similar to us with survival games, Minecraft is a game in which the goal, ostensibly, is to gather resources and then use those resources to both expand your abilities and to remain well-fed and alive. And it is presented in a voxel graphical style. That is Minecraft at the brass tacks, the absolute basest possible description.
At the bedrock level.
Yes, at the bedrock edition level. Which is a whole other thing that we are just not qualified to get into. The game was originally developed by Mojang, which is what we said up at the top of the episode. But then the creator of the game, Notch, who, from my understanding, is some kind of piece of shit that I just am not privy to what it is that he's been up to, sold the game to Microsoft for like $10 billion gazillion dollars. And so now Microsoft owns the game. And while we were playing, in the like 3 weeks that we played the game, there was an update that like made items craftable out of copper, which just seems like a crazy thing to introduce to the game 15 years after it came out.
Yeah. And
so they are still like actively developing it in some way.
Yeah, and it's super useful too. We had so much copper.
Yeah.
It was nice to just be able to just make a bunch of copper shit.
Keep yourself from just dying.
Yeah.
So yeah, it is, but there's the original game was written in Java, and the Java version of the game is available to play and download and works with like certain mods that people like to run. If you listen to the podcast at all, you might know that we don't generally mod games that we play. We try and play them in like their baseline retail experience whenever that's possible. And that's like a huge part of the Minecraft community that we just are not gonna have any comment on. And yeah, so it's split down the middle as far as like there's different versions of the games that have different compatibilities. Like getting into Minecraft is like a surprisingly involved thing if you want to do what we are doing, which is have a server where only your friends play on it and like have it be compatible with the different platforms that they're going to play on, and also then learn about the game enough to do a podcast.
Right.
There was like a lot of digging, pun kind of intended, to get to where we were able to actually play.
Right. To just play regular Minecraft.
Yeah.
With friends.
But yeah, so I don't actually know where to even begin. Or I could take actually, that's inspiration right there. Where we're going to begin is that I don't know where to begin in Minecraft. This is and I consider this to be like a minor character flaw more so than it is like a thing against the game. I consider this a thing against me. I struggle to be intrinsically motivated by wide open games like Minecraft, and like I was not a Legos kid either. Like I'm not a visual or builder creative kind of person, and Minecraft presents a hurdle to me because it just says like, here you are prepare to die 3,000 times in the first 20 minutes while you even figure out how anything in the game works. So my beginning of this game was very difficult, very like hard to get a grasp on, because I felt like I didn't have breathing room to learn how the game functioned, and the game did not provide me with goals to accomplish, so I was kind of aimless.
Right. Yeah, I could kind of sense that. And that's a way I think that we're pretty different as people. Because like I definitely like you put in a lot more time than I did. Because I've been bad at budgeting my time recently. I have a lot going on. But I remember like I had like a list of things, like cool things I felt like I wanted to build, but then just didn't have like the time to like actually do them. But yeah, it kind of seemed like I wanted to like. I just try to think of it like I was a kid and like what I would want to do, like very much like the Lego style thing that you approached, or the Lego style approach that you mentioned. Like I was like, oh, like what if we built a giant tower just to see how high we could make it, or like what if we build like a giant bridge just like out as far as we can go because it's like an endless world. Like I don't know, build the bridge until it like intersects with something cool. Or like build a giant castle, or like, you know, stuff like that. Yeah, it's just like the game, though, I do think it throws up like some hurdles, like where it throws up like hurdles for me. It's more like I feel like the day-night cycle is a little too fast, or like the day specifically is a little too short. And I think it really kind of like felt like it was stifling my drive to do creative things, because it felt like like if I went out to try and build something before I knew it, nighttime would be around, which I think is fine theoretically, you know, because it's something that like puts pressure on you, and if like you find yourself like absorbed in like making something and then you get caught out because you weren't paying attention, and like now, oh, it's like an interesting fun challenge, can I make it back to my house, or can I fight off all of these enemies, like that could be cool. But like I feel like once the enemies are around and the sun comes back up, like sometimes they just stick around and they even just keep spawning for a while, and it's just like it felt like managing the enemies, like I was just something felt off about that to me. But I definitely was more like driven to like want to like just make whatever and do whatever, or just dig down as far as I could go and be satisfied to just do that sort of thing. But it did seem like you kind of like either, I don't know if you consulted like a wiki or if you were just like making your own mental checklist, but you seemed like you were trying to like work towards making everything and like getting to the like whatever it's called, the nether or the end or whatever, and like actually trying to progress towards like the ending that the game has. And I really had no interest in doing that at all.
Right. Well, I still have some interest in the idea of like, quote unquote, reaching the credits, because that's sort of how my brain functions. But I have like, I did consult wikis several times, but it was always for very specific things. It wasn't like a, what do I do next to do this thing? I've picked up through cultural osmosis,
right,
what the things that you do in Minecraft are, generally speaking. And so I was trying to kind of like hit the things that I did know about. And that was my driving experience. I will say, and I'll talk about this later, because I did put more time in the game than you did. I think that there is I was able to embrace the sense of aimlessness in a way that I was taken aback by. I was a little surprised at myself. But the reasoning for it is questionable, and is the kind of thing that if JJ was on this episode, he would probably say is like a cultural problem. We can talk about this now. I do want to go back to talk about sort of the day-night cycle and the enemy management, because I do think that's a big part of the experience, and specifically the fact that we played on survival mode, because there is a peaceful mode where there are not enemies.
Right.
That is a more sandboxy thing that I felt like would be like watching paint dry if it was me playing, because I am not interested in the creative aspect of it as much. But yeah, I will address this immediately because it is funny. I discovered essentially as I'm canonically 19, but as like a millennial who happens to also be 19, the like sort of brain rot, I guess, situation where you are in Minecraft on one monitor, and then you have a 9-hour stream VOD playing on a second monitor, and you're just like not thinking about the outside world at all. And like it's not an experience that I have very often, because I will be, when I play a game, typically my focus is on the game. But Minecraft has many activities in it, such as mining, and then alternatively see also crafting, where you can just sort of zone the fuck out and just do a thing for a long time. And so I would have a stream on, which is another thing that you by definition do not have to pay attention to. And I have these two sort of warring factions entering my head at once, where it's like I have audio from some guy talking about a roguelike game that he's playing while I'm staring at a gray wall that I'm slowly breaking apart and occasionally stopping to get other resources, and then walking my ass back up home to replenish myself and then come back. And suddenly it's been like 6 hours of me playing the game, and I've dug a hole straight to hell. And I'm like, I see the appeal in this, because there is a mood you can get in where you just like don't want to exist in the world anymore. I've been there, and I was not there when I was playing Minecraft, which might have been a problem. I feel like if I was in the doldrums of a seasonal depression while I was playing Minecraft, I would have played it for 73,000 hours in a row. But I feel like this is the thing, is like when you're playing with people, that you cannot do that. And so I had that experience like a couple of times while playing this game for the podcast, and not ever when it was with other people. And it was like, and those times were when I was like, okay, everybody's asking questions and trying to figure stuff out, and I'm trying to like zen out, because that's what the experience I'm used to. And it was kind of harshing my vibe in a way. So like I almost describe Minecraft, a part of Minecraft that I enjoyed, as like a almost drug-like, trance-like experience, where it was like a dissociative event. And I was kind of down with it, not like a whole lot, because when I got off of it, I was doing other things. But it was weird. And I feel like you are a person who is incapable of reaching that level, just from what I know about you.
I don't know if I would say that exactly. Like I was, as when you first started, ready to push back in a JJ way and say maybe it is a cultural thing, or maybe even a mental health issue. But I think it's because I used to do that, basically the exact same thing, but with Pokemon. Like when I played Pokemon a lot, like I would be leveling up or grinding or whatever, and I would have the TV on, and I would kind of, like my attention would ping pong back and forth. Like I used to do that all the time. But like I think that, like the difference, I guess, would just be like the motivation, or like the appeal you find in it. Because like for me, that's not really like, I don't do that for the escapism. I don't really know to describe like why. I enjoy it. But like, it's not because I don't want to exist in the world or like I want to escape from something. But yeah, I don't know. But like, for me, the appeal, I think, of Minecraft is like it puts me like in, I think fittingly, like kind of in like a childhood like mindset, because this game's super popular with kids. And like it reminds me, it feels like mysterious and like weird and like it doesn't hold your hand. Like it reminds me of older games. Like the first console I had as a kid was a hand-me-down NES from my aunt and uncle, and we played tons of NES games that like we didn't understand, like, you know, had no tutorials. Like we would just boot them up, mess around in them, not know what to do, not get anywhere, you know, and then turn it off. And like Minecraft kind of has that energy to me. And like, I think we talked about this on like the Animal Crossing episode, like the New Leaf one forever ago, or it's like, there's something about Minecraft that almost feels like there's like something, like it feels like there's like a possibility space to it. Like there's something under the surface, pun intended, I guess. But like, because
Yes.
it's like that endlessly generated world. And like, there's something about that makes you feel like you could stumble on something. It's almost like the feeling of like exploration in real life. Like while in college, we went on a spring break trip, 1 year and in Florida, and there was this like wilderness hiking area where there had been like a forest fire however many years ago, and it looked like you had stepped into a different country. Like it looked like it was Africa, you know, just like in the middle of Florida. And like we went hiking, and like I remember like I probably annoyingly wanted to keep hiking like the most, I think, out of everybody, because like you just get that feeling of like, oh, what if we go like a little bit further and like round a corner and we find like a cool lake, or like, you know, like there's like that feeling of like there's something out there, and like Minecraft gives me that feeling. Yeah, like there's like it tickles like some kind of part of my brain like that, and like to me that's the appeal. It's like an appealing world to spend time in to me in that way.
Yeah, I can 100% imagine myself having that same thought process, I think. And I'm gonna get into a bit of a more base level discussion of some of the mechanics off of this, but I do want to say, just in the spirit of sort of the romanticization of it a little bit, I fully agree. Like and that feeling in real life is something that's like really hard to like get in the modern world. Like everything feels very like explored at this stage, because if you're out hiking or whatever, there's if there is a lake, there's probably a sign that says lake over there, right? Like, and so when you do find one of those moments where you're like, oh, I could like go look for something and maybe actually find something, it is like a really powerful experience. And games are able to provide that to some degree. I'm going to bring this up now and probably never again. I played Terraria a lot, which is a similar game to Minecraft, but it's from a different, it's a third person game, 2D. And it's just like, it's very flat. It's Minecraft, but it's like simpler. But one of the things that I really liked about that game is that I had that same feeling of like, oh, what am I going to discover if I do X or Y? And that game had a ton of, it still does, has even more now because they've continued to update the game for a decade, of like items that did shit and like potions and whatnot. So here's my suspicion, and that is we did not get far enough in Minecraft, whatever that means nebulously.
Right.
To experience the Terraria level of discovery, like finding chests that contain stuff. I found chests. They mostly contain stuff that I didn't even know what to do with.
Right.
Because it's very crafting centric. You rarely find something that is complete. And like I found like a gold chest plate that had an enchantment on it once. And I was like, that's cool. That's like a cool thing. My problem is that in Minecraft, there's that sense that you might find something, but then when you play the game for 30 hours and everything that you find is boring as hell, it takes the edge off of that experience a lot. Mm-hmm. And I bet that there is stuff, like, 'cause I know that there are like underground secret things that get generated that I just like literally never ran into. After digging for hours and hours. So there is like some level of discovery that we just like didn't experience that I think would have, if it was more concentrated and you were more able to find it, not like early game, because I'm sure that you can if you know what you're doing, but as a brand new player and somebody who isn't in Minecraft for the creative element of it, I felt like that was scuttled early, where I was like, well, I can't explore the overworld because every 20 minutes I have to put myself into a box for 20 minutes and wait for the night to go away because I will die instantaneously otherwise. And then I could tear it down and then I can keep going. But if I go too far, there's no chance I'm making it back home. So it was like, I felt very constrained in a game that should be more about that freedom. But also, I didn't have the desire to play the game in the not dangerous mode, because then it felt like, what's even the point of what I'm doing?
Yeah, you need like, some adversity, yeah.
Yeah, it's like, oh, I'm going to craft diamond armor to protect myself from nothing, from a wildfire, maybe. I don't know.
Right. No, I can agree with that. Yeah, and I feel like, like I was getting at earlier, I feel like if the day was maybe twice as long as the nighttime, and then like when the sun comes up, if the enemies like, it was like a hard switch and all the enemies just burned up and died. Because like it was, like, the sun will have been up for like a while, and like a skeleton will like still like shoot you out of nowhere, and it'll be like, what the fuck?
Yeah,
that really rubbed me the wrong way.
Yeah, because one, I agree with you. It bothered the shit out of me that I felt like I couldn't even like meaningfully explore during the daytime because there would still be monsters that still posed a threat unless you had like armor, and then getting the armor takes like hours of digging to find all the materials you need to make the armor. Because a lot of this was played before copper was even useful, so you had the option of iron, which appears to be the rarest material in any game ever, compared to like how much of it you need to do
at least in the world we were playing.
Yeah. Or you make gold armor, which seems to suck, or diamond armor, which is just going to take you 3 days of grinding to do. But I like the fact that it's sunlight that hurts the monsters, and that if they take cover under trees and stuff, they can survive. That's cool. Mm-hmm. But also, like, it's not that interactive. As a player, what you can do to prevent that is cut down all the trees, which takes a long time, because as everyone who looked at our world noted, you cut down the tree and remove its trunk. I put that in quotes. And then all the leaves are still just in the air. So you then have to go tear down all the leaves block by block, which is like a tedious process that I never wanted to do. So it's like you could make a safe zone where the monsters would not be able to spawn or not be able to survive. But it would just take you a really long time, and you would get basically no reward during it. So it's like there's a zero dopamine moment in a game. And I'm like, oh, I don't know what to do because my brain chemistry is fucked up now.
Yeah, and just from like a different perspective, like I also find that unappealing, but because like it's boring to clear a flat plane to like build your house on. It's like way more fun to build it into the environment and have trees and things around it. So I would find it would be lame to just bulldoze everything and make like a big flat
make a shopping mall.
Yeah, like a big parking lot.
Yeah.
But also, like, I also like the idea of like the monsters can survive in the daytime in the shade on paper. But I swear, like, I saw zombies like running on our bridge in broad daylight in the middle of the day, and like they weren't on fire. So,
yeah, who knows, really? I do want to. I don't know, like, 'cause I don't want this to be like a complain-a-thon necessarily, but I do want to talk about combat in Minecraft because I do find it to be ass and also cheeks.
right.
I have not felt as helpless in a game in my entire life, which I guess could be a positive in the sense that, like, it's eliciting a really strong reaction from me. But when you get hit by something that you can't see in Minecraft, it really feels like you are fucked. Like, I've been juggled against a wall by multiple enemies and died so many times, and like the creepers make a sound when they're about to explode, but otherwise they're pretty quiet. You have to be paying like pretty close attention to know when they're coming. And they do a whole bunch of damage if you're not wearing. Everything deals a lot of damage if you're not wearing armor. And you get into these death loops where you're like, but not like the cool arcane game that's on my top 100 list. Go check it out. You get into death loops that are uncool, where you die somewhere and then you have to go get your stuff. But in order to get your stuff, you have to like make new stuff so that you can survive long enough to get there. So now you're grinding before you go in, or you're just making rushes in to try and grab your shit, which I did a lot. And during which you will die again and again and again. I feel like in survival mode, we played on normal difficulty for up until the last day that we ever played, during which I changed it to easy, and I swear I barely noticed a difference.
Yeah, I didn't even remember that you had done that.
Yeah. So I don't know. It's just like the combat feels really bad. Your ability to fight back is like you can get fairly strong, but it is like your like weapons with range are good. And when I say weapons plural, I do mean a bow, because I didn't find any other weapons that had ranges. I only ever found bow and sword. And so it feels like kind of bad when there's a bunch. There's just like, it feels like there's too many enemies, I guess, is where I land on it. It feels like there's so many. Yeah.
Yeah, because like I agree with everything you're saying, but like I think it's a good thing.
Okay.
But I do agree. I think there's too many enemies, but like I like that the world's really hostile. And I like that, like, even though like I complain that stuff can attack you in the daytime still. But yeah, I think it's like I feel like there's knobs that need to be turned, and adjusted. But like, yeah, way too many enemies. But like, I like that. Yeah, it's really hostile. It's easy to die. Like, because like I feel like it fits thematically. Like you're just kind of dropped into this world filled with monsters. You're just a regular guy. Like if you want to like deal with them, like you have to like make a sword. You have to make armor. Like you have to get good at the combat yourself. And it's just like this little, you're just like whacking the guy with a little sword. Like I think it's like it's not like about combat, and I kind of like that. I don't know, like something about it feels like it fits the game to me. But I do, yeah, I think it's too punishing in the sense that there's way too many enemies. I think like we were like exploring this big cavern the last time that we played, and it's like it felt like they did, because that's the way the game is. They just kept coming and kept coming and kept coming. Like we killed like 300 things, and like it just keeps happening. Just keeps coming. So it would be nice if there was some kind of like way, I don't know how exactly you would design it, but like some kind of like progress. Like if you're like in a zone and you kill so many enemies, like they stop spawning until you progress so far, and then it triggers them to start spawning again. Like you can kind of like clear out a safe zone or something. I think that would be cool.
Yeah, I've heard of... There's so much in Minecraft that there's a lot of stuff that I'm only going to have like a tertiary understanding of. Like,
Right.
there's understanding it, there is like knowing about it in a way that you can manipulate it without understanding it, and then there's where I am, which is like have heard about it, have a general idea that I made up in my own head about how it works. And one of those mechanics is light levels and monster spawning. My understanding is that if the light level is high enough, monsters will not spawn there. But I don't know at all what that threshold is, because I did notice that there were in those shaft that went to that cavern, monsters generally didn't spawn. They did sometimes, or maybe they're spawning elsewhere and then wandering in. I can't really tell. So I think that is, if that works the way that I think it does, which it might not. Let me know in the comments. I think that like the idea is that you clear stuff out and then you somehow light up the area enough that things won't spawn. But the cavern we were in is like 2 miles across. Like there was no way that we were going to make it like the light of day in there. And I also don't know if like lava contributes to that, because there was a bunch of lava in that cavern when I first got there. And there were still a billion enemies. But then I removed the lava by turning it into obsidian, which I needed for a different thing I was doing. And then the cave became very dark again. So I didn't actually get to learn if that was the case, because this all happened before I knew about monster spawning.
Right. And
but
it felt like you like were placing a lot of torches, like... Or you need to go like that, like go that hot, like ham on placing light sources around to get them to stop. Like, I don't know. That seems very unintuitive to me.
Yeah, it seems like it might as well not be how it works. Or maybe it just isn't how it works and I have a misunderstanding about the game.
Because I feel like you put a lot of them like at the entrance of the cave too. And like there were always like a billion enemies right outside the cave. So
yeah. That sure is. I do think, I don't know. I still think that the combat feels a little bit like, I agree with you in the sense that it makes sense that the world should be hostile in the game in survival mode for the sake of like driving you to make new and better equipment. But I do feel like it doesn't escalate. It just is at a level where when you are naked and afraid, like that television show, it is insurmountable. And when you get like diamond armor, the overworld no longer poses a threat to you, presumably outside of like camps and stuff, which I never found it. I found an outpost and cleared it easily before I had diamond anything. So I have this like in my head, I feel like there's this like, it lacks a curve, because I think when it was being designed, it felt like, how do you make a curve in a game like this? And I think that, you know, fucking 14 years down the road, I feel like we probably have come up with systems for that. Like Valheim has different like biomes that spawn that become harder as you go along.
right.
Things like that, I think would go a long way to making the combat feel less intimidating and also scale in a way that makes it feel like you're being rewarded more for grinding out the better equipment. I'm not sure.
Mm-hmm.
It just didn't feel like there was like a smooth progression at any point during the game.
Right. No, I mean, I would agree with that. I just feel like it's not supposed to. But yeah. I mean, I'm not going to argue that that's like good, but it felt like a natural fit for the game to me in a way that I don't know if I can really describe. But it always felt like it made sense that like the further down into like a cave you would go, like the more like fucked you would be. Right. I don't know. And like just swarmed by enemies. Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
But maybe it feels like it makes sense like thematically, I guess. Now, it is not like the best game design or like the best thing, like for a player to experience, I guess.
Yeah. It feels like a lot of where the intentionality in design exists are within these like I don't want to say prescribed because they are randomly generated, but like essentially like there are modules that the game generates when it makes the world that are like, this is a cave of this variety and this is like a bandit camp of some kind. And that is where a lot of the like, oh, this is a thing that once you find it, it is its own prescribed challenge with rewards. If you find a big cave, there's probably a lot of high-end resources there, but there's tons of monsters that you have to deal with while you're trying to gather the resources. If you find a camp, if you kill all the enemies in the camp, there's a treasure chest that contains shit that you might want in it. Like, that feels like where a lot of the focus was, and then in the other elements of the randomly generated world, it stayed fairly truly random. Like, I hit bedrock in the game, and at no point on my descent into madness was I like attacked by Satan himself with a big pitchfork, and that was like, oh, you're getting close to my domain or something. It was just more rocks and more small caves with like coal in it and shit as I got deeper down. Like, there's like a rules to how the procedural generation works, but it doesn't feel like that was the player's progression was not a considered matter with that. You can kind of just go wherever you want, early or late, whenever you want to go, and it won't really follow you in that way. And I'm also not saying necessarily that that's bad. I'm saying that that's what I would have liked it to be, because it would have given me more of a funnel to push my game playing into so that my preferred experience would come out the narrow end as a sort of chalky tube. But as it stands, it feels very like haphazard. I don't know.
Yeah. Like, I was always under the impression that like Minecraft was more just kind of like a progressionless sandbox game. And then I feel like we looked it up the other day. I was like, when did they actually add in like a final boss and like an ending and all these progression things? And it was like pretty early. Like the game, I feel like it was only when the game was out for like a year, which surprised me. Because like I agree kind of with what you're getting at, that like they don't feel like they go together that well. Like it feels like the game was designed with this like random, procedurally generated world that you just kind of like did whatever you felt like in. And then they like added in these little progression things to make it more appealing to a wider audience later, is like what it feels like. So yeah, I do feel like there is like a little bit of a disconnect. Like, especially if you're coming from like your perspective where you're not interested in the creative stuff. Yeah, like there isn't really like it's not like a thing to hold your attention, I guess, like a series of things to do in like a logical order. Yeah.
And to your point from earlier, like the existence of the Nether and the End, which were added in over the years, I think it was longer than a year. I don't remember because we did look it up the other day, but like,
I thought you said it was like 2012.
Yeah,
that stuff was added, which would have only been a year after like the like official release.
Yeah, because I think that's the thing. It's like the official release. It was like the game came out in alpha or beta and people were playing.
Yeah, I think it was like in
while.
2009. Yeah, so I think it was like in alpha for like 2 years before the original release.
Yeah, and those things I think specifically are added for players like me. It's like they want to be like, oh, if you're somebody who's going to be more extrinsically motivated by things that the game is telling you to do, then these are goals that you can strive for. So that is why I was working toward those things, because that was what the game gave me to grasp onto, more so than anything else. I do wish, and this is pivoting, so I don't know if you had anything else that you wanted to say on the topic at hand.
Nah, pivot away.
Yeah, I do think that the game could do with And Minecraft purists might crucify me for saying this, but I wish that if you hovered over an object that you were able to craft, it would tell you what the fuck it did. Because I kept I would have stuff and it would be like, you can make this. And then I'd be like, but what is it? What is a fire charge? What does a fletching table do? I did not know the answers to these questions before I made them. And for some of them, I never found out what they were for because I didn't know how to use them. Like, I felt like it was very sort of not tutorialized. That's not really the word. It is. There isn't really a tutorial at all in the game. But I think that's fine in the kind of game that this is. But it's like there's just a lack of information on almost everything that had me going to wikis on occasion to check for why is this important, or is this important at all? What does this do? The update thing was like, put a carved pumpkin on a block of copper and you'll make an automaton. And then I made the automaton because what the fuck else was I going to do? And it just sort of wandered around. I don't know what its purpose was. Like, there were many times where when I was trying to find goals, even within the more sandboxy elements, I was not given any feedback as to whether what I was doing was good or useful in any way.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm always torn about stuff like this because I feel like on one hand, I feel like I agree with you. And on the other hand, I feel like I want to disagree.
Because it's funny. No.
I mean, it is funny. But, yeah, I think we've talked about this before. But, I definitely have, this, romanticized, idea of older games. And, that idea of, the game doesn't tell you what anything in it is really reminds me of that. And it makes me feel like I like that sort of thing. I like the idea of you just have to make it and figure it out. But in practice, I feel like it's really hard to pull that off. So yeah, I feel like I don't really know. Personally, I don't know. I guess you made way more things than I did. So I guess I never really found myself being frustrated by that. But I also feel like there's this big culture to Minecraft. I feel like it's super ubiquitous with Gen Z, people who I at my previous job had a coworker who's 10 years younger than I am, who doesn't play video games, doesn't own a console, but sometimes I come over to her desk and she would have up a stream of somebody playing Minecraft.
Yeah.
It's that, I feel like it's just that baked into the childhood of a lot of kids that are that much younger than us, who were that much younger than us. And I feel like there's this kind of cultural knowledge of what stuff in Minecraft is that we don't have. Mm-hmm. So that might contribute to it. They just kind of put more and more stuff into the game, building upon that knowledge that a lot of the player base already has. So it's we're just getting on the boat way too late. I feel like that's definitely an element of it too. But
yeah, and you can see this. I do think that it is a personality thing to some extent, because there are people who would hate that being removed because it is an element of discovery to it. And I only say this because I know that there are people in the Binding of Isaac community who hate the fact that when you look at an item, the game doesn't tell you what it does. And other people who are that's the point of the game, is you discover all of these things. So it makes making builds harder to do at the beginning and is a natural way of gating your progression toward the end game. And it's funny because I play a lot of roguelikes now that in the modern era are moving toward, like, not only are they telling you what everything you pick up does, but they're like working to simplify the language so that you can identify like what something does at a glance with highlighted text and percentage numbers that are easy to read, as compared to literally no text, just guess as to what it is. Like, there's been such a move away from that, but there's still a contingency of people who appreciates that design in that game. And I feel like those are the same kinds of people who are going to look at a game like Minecraft and be like, if you combine these things, like, I think in the original version of Minecraft, and don't quote me on this because I might be wrong, the crafting system is a 3x3 grid that you place objects in. And nowadays you can just click on the thing you want to make and it autofills it for you, and then you can just grab it. You can even just right click on it and it won't even autofill it. It just makes it and puts it into your inventory. And I think originally you had to do that, and you wouldn't get like recipes in the sense that like when you pick up iron, it tells you can now make the iron sword. You just put it in the grid in the way that the other swords work. And that's how, and you just like form a shape out of it. So there's more experimentation from the player to be like, oh, if I have these items and I put them in this order, am I going to get like a new item out of it? And I think that there are probably people who really would have liked that system. Probably Noita players. And so I can see the divide. I'm on the side where I would like a little bit more ease with my experience. But I can 100% appreciate people who think that the discovery is a big part of the appeal of the game.
Yeah, and it also made me think of like Monster Hunter. Like, was it like Monster Hunter World where like they added the damage numbers?
Yeah,
and all the old school Monster Hunter fans were like mad about it.
Yeah, I was a little mad. I don't know.
Yeah, it seems just seems kind of like that to me. Yeah, I don't know. I guess it feels like such like, once again, maybe it's just like my perception of like what the game is. It just kind of feels like the right fit for Minecraft, for it to like not tell you what stuff does. 'Cause yeah, I think of it, it's like such like I feel like this game, I don't know if it was made for kids, but I feel like the fact that it is so popular with kids makes a lot of sense. Like, it just feels like the kind of game that like, and we've talked about this with lots of older games, like I kind of feel like it kind of assumes you have more free time to dump into it and figure everything else out, or figure out everything about it. It kind of feels like it's designed with that sort of headspace in mind.
Yeah. I feel like Minecraft as it exists today is probably a very different thing than as it existed at the time of its release. Because,
right,
yeah, if you had a lot of free time, if you wanted to dump a bunch of time into Minecraft, it was there, and it had all of these other elements. And I think that now they probably, in upkeep and new design, when they do patches and stuff, keep in mind the fact that Minecraft has such a large community that if there are players who aren't happy with the way that the base game works but want to continue playing, there are mods that like deal with a lot of those issues, quote unquote issues, I suppose, depending on who you are. Like, I'm sure that, because I know that there are mods that like auto sort chests, and I didn't want to walk around like, oh wait, hold on, I had 8 bones in this chest, and I've got 20 bones in this chest, so I got to move the bones over to free up a slot. And I ended up just building more chests rather than organizing, because organizing is not that fun to do in a game, in my opinion. But some people probably don't mind it, or do like that sort of element to it. So, yeah, I think that it probably leans on the community to fix issues that different players have in order to appeal to as broad an audience as possible.
So I guess like a lot of the rest of my notes are kind of building on like what I was just talking about, like the ubiquitousness of this game with like younger people. And I was just thinking about that. Like, I find it really fascinating. Like, I was like wondering if our generation has anything like that. The only things I could think of were like WoW and Pokemon. But I don't feel like either of those are quite the same thing, because like I feel like Minecraft has just never gone away. Like, cause like Pokemon was huge and like literally everyone was playing it at the time, but that only really lasted like 3 or 4 years before it kind of like dropped off of like the cultural consciousness in the way that it had been. And then like WoW, I feel like has always been a little bit more niche. But yeah, those were the only things I could really think of. And like maybe like something like GTA, but that doesn't quite, it's not as, that's like a game that you beat and then you have to wait for the next one, and not like a game you can play all the time. So,
Well, it was until GTA 5, which has online and is like one of the most popular games of all time right now, which is insane to me. But yeah, I was just as unfamiliar with it as you were until like literally 3 weeks ago. Because I was having a similar conversation to this, where it was like, why is it that Minecraft is so ubiquitous? And we, of course, looked up the numbers, and it was like, oh, Minecraft, one of the best-selling games of all time. WoW is another one of those games. GTA 5, for some reason, is also on that list.
Wild. Because, yeah, I didn't think, like, I hadn't heard anybody talk about it in, years.
Yeah, weirdly, it appeals to people who are like 12 or 13 years old, which seems kind of problematic. Maybe we'll talk about that in a hypothetical episode about Grand Theft Auto at some point in the distant future. But yeah, it's very weird. I think that we both have a general understanding of why Minecraft is so popular among literal children. In that it is that like creativity in that Lego sense. It's social because you can play with your friends. There's
it's mysterious.
It's mysterious, which kids love.
It's actually challenging.
Yeah, it's integrated content with all of the YouTubers that kids are watching, which is a thing that you hate to think about, but is true.
I sure do hate to think about that.
Yeah, but I do think that is sort of the crux of why Minecraft just never left the cultural consciousness. Like it was grabbed onto so heavily by, like, you can buy a creeper skinned backpack at Walmart and shit. Like it's just a very integrated part of our society at this point. And so many people have played it, and then those people talked about it and made content about it, kind of like we're doing right now. And then the next generation gets introduced to it because of this cultural element to it. But it is weird that like there were moments where like Pokemon fell off and Minecraft fucking long live Minecraft. I don't know how it happened.
It is fascinating to me. Yeah, because I'm an outsider to it, I guess.
Yeah.
I just find it fascinating. Because I used to think that like before I had played Minecraft, like I think it's funny it's so popular with kids because like it's like the stereotype about it. Yeah, it's like all kids love Minecraft. Because I felt like when I was a kid, it was like the opposite of the kind of games I liked, and I feel like I wouldn't have liked it as a kid. But after actually playing it, I feel like I definitely would have.
Yeah, I'm not sure. If I had infinite time, if I got into it right when it came out, I feel like I probably could have put a lot of time into it, but I'm not sure.
Yeah.
I'm a little bit curious how much of the appeal of the game is related to the visual style.
Yeah, that's definitely part of it. I can't believe we haven't talked about that yet.
Yeah, it does seem crazy. But yeah, because it uses a voxel style. I think probably 90% of human beings who know what the word voxel means know about it because of Minecraft. Like it popularized it in the sense that it's like it is a way of doing sort of a pixel adjacent style, but in 3D with 3D objects where everything is represented by a cube. And I think that like it is distinctive. Like you look at it and you just know that it's Minecraft, or it's a game that is just deliberately ripping off Minecraft, of which there are tons now. When you see it, but it's impressive how, I mean, we're playing it in current year. There's, I'm sure, lots of improvements that have been made, but how diverse everything looks despite the limited possibility space with like the art style.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I feel like it's kind of genius. 'Cause like it feels like such like a great idea, because like it's clearly like, I think it came out at a time, like it definitely marks like a turning point for video games, where like games started to kind of like look back at older games for inspiration, and it feels like, yeah, Minecraft definitely was doing that, because like old games are like built on tile maps, on grids, like a lot of like isometric games, like things are kind of designed in a square and rectangular kind of way. And it makes you think of things, like old like Atari sprites, or like very rectangular and stuff. And it's like translating it to 3D, everything's a cube. It is also like, as you already brought up, Legos and blocks, like things that kids like to play with. Like it just feels like it marries these things really well. And it does. I just brought up the Atari thing. Like, there's a lot of different like the restraints are like causing there to be more creativity. Like, it's like, oh, like that's how they made a chicken out of cubes, or like that's what like a cow looks like. It's all like very clever and feels like creative. And like there's like the big jellyfish things that you'll see in the water, where like the head of the jellyfish is just a big cube. And then like water is like these like weird little flat sheets and stuff. Like, it is all really like clever and like makes you chuckle a little bit when you first see a thing, and how they represented it in the art style. So it is, there's something about it, that's just very charming.
Yeah, and it even has like an impact on the way that the game functions mechanically as well, and it makes it very easy to understand how things are going to interact with one another in a way that I find really, I don't know, it does feel very elegant in the way that it pans out, because you are
it's like very
given
easy
that.
to understand.
Yeah,
Stacking blocks,
it's like that your jump is one block high, so you know that if you have one block in front of you, you can get on top of it, but if you have two, then you're gonna have to do something about that. That kind of stuff, I think, it makes it just function really well and still look good. And it is impressive because like it's there have been changes, I assume, to the way that the graphics are rendered. I know that there's like an option where you can play in like a more visually spectacular mode than the default. But even still, I think just the base models and how that all plays together it works surprisingly well. Though I will say there's
clean.
Nothing more unintuitive than how water and lava, like liquids, flow in the game. I just don't get it, and I don't. I don't know. Need to take some kind of Minecraft physics class before I get what is going to happen. Probably, I don't know. I doubt most people play the game in the way that I described, where you have a stream up on the other screen and you slowly turn into a leather chair yourself while mining. But it did make me really appreciate, when that wasn't happening, the fact that the music for this game is so subtle. And I presume it's dynamic in the sense that like only certain things will play when you do certain things or are in certain locations. But it does not try and be like a catchy retro soundtrack, nor does it try to be like anything grand or it's very understated. It's I would say similar to something like Breath of the Wild, though I'm sure Breath of the Wild took some number of cues from Minecraft in creating its soundscapes as well. Though obviously they're an orchestral production as opposed to a more synthy production that Minecraft is. And I don't know, I was just really impressed by it whenever I was, the fact that it would fade in a way that it was almost difficult to notice, and then would just be backing in a chilled out kind of way. I was actually a big fan of the music in this game.
Yeah, I liked it too. I almost wish it would have played a little bit more often. But yeah, because I think you're right. I think it starts to play like when you do certain things, like if you're like just mining uninterrupted for like a certain amount of time, like that's when a track will kick in, like stuff like that. Like it'll fade in and out. And yeah, it's nice. It's like kind of like lo-fi, just like something to have on in the background kind of adjacent feel. And yeah, it is definitely, I think it would definitely make it more like definitely make it way easier to zen out while playing if the music was more constant.
Minecraft is like a functionally infinite, limitless space. Randomly generated worlds every time that you create a new one. And there are multiple biomes to explore and like a seemingly unending number of things to collect and do in it. That being said, I don't have anything else to talk about.
I don't really either. I meant to mention it at the beginning. You mentioned mods, and when you were talking about like just like getting in your zen state while playing, I just wanted to shout out. There's this YouTuber that we both watch called The Cursed Judge, who did a YouTube video about floating islands in video game design. And he talks about this mod called the Aether for Minecraft. And it's like the first thing I'd ever seen about Minecraft that made me kind of want to play it. But yeah, like obviously we don't mod games for this. But like I was very, very much tempted to try installing that mod, because like, there's something about it like Minecraft, but it's floating islands in the sky, and if you want to like go over to like you see like a cave or a big mountain, it's on a different island. You have to like build a big bridge to go get to it, and you could fall to your death. Something about that just seems like a lot more evocative and cool to me. And I don't know, I just wanted to mention that. So if anyone's a big fan of that mod, it gets a shout out because it seems cool.
Yeah, no, that's fair. There's probably so much mod. If we did a sequel to this episode, NOCLIP 200x2, it was like we could probably find a lot of mods that do a lot of cool things with this game, and probably ones that make me genuinely really enjoy the game in a way that the base game is not capable of. But it's just not a thing. It would just be too much of a possibility space for every episode if we considered like user made content.
Oh yeah. For sure.
Which is too bad, because some of it's really good. Maybe we'll do like a special episode on that sometime in the future.
We do like DLC episodes sometimes, so why not a mod episode every once in a while?
Why not mods?
A Describing the Skybox exclusive?
Yeah. Do we have Redstone thoughts?
My Redstone thoughts. This was an interesting experience. And yeah, the thing I just kept thinking about is like the like cultural ubiquitousness of this game, and how like I had just never really had any interest in it. It's definitely like a weird experience. And I will say, after playing it though, and like kind of seeing the appeal firsthand, and feeling like, yeah, this definitely would have like spoken to me as a kid. It makes Valheim make more sense to me. I know that's another thing you brought up earlier. You compared it to Valheim, but like I could imagine somebody having been really into Minecraft latching off to a game that takes such clear inspiration from it, because they're kind of trying to recapture like the first time experience of playing a thing that they liked. So that's just the thing I was thinking about. Because we didn't really like Valheim like almost at all. But yeah, so yeah, I actually did have fun with this, like more than I expected to. I like a buildy sandbox game. They're not like my jam or anything, but like I can get into them. Like I definitely had all these ideas of cool things that I wanted to build, but yeah, like unfortunately didn't have as much free time as I would have liked to, because I am not a child. Like the game so clearly wants you to be. Yeah, I am 100% male. And yeah, but like I can definitely, especially with the social element, like it was fun to get on together and like have like the little dinky hut that we made. Like I never I remember the first time we got on, I was like, I know through cultural osmosis that like what you're supposed to do when you get into the game is immediately start punching trees, because you need to build a house so that you don't get killed by zombies at night. I knew that much. And like just going from that to like then like building up our house and then like digging a mine down underneath of it and then like building the big bridge across to the mountain and blah, blah, blah. Like, I don't know. Yeah, you do. It's like corny and like, you know, like the whole like poetic idea of the game is like you kind of like make your own story in it, you know, like the emergent story comes out of like your journey or your little adventure in your Minecraft world. But yeah, it was a satisfying thing to experience, I think, overall. You know, I didn't love the game. Like I have my problems with it. Like I feel like a lot of like the stuff with the combat could be tweaked. I feel like, yeah, because like I agree with you largely. Like I feel like just doing the creative mode would, I think, get a little boring a little too quick. I think you need the adversity of the enemies. But I do wish that they weren't quite as persistent. And like there was more of a balance, so you got like a little bit more time to build and explore and stuff in between. But yeah, anyway. So yeah, I have my problems with it, but I did like it more than I expected to, but I didn't love it. So, you know, I felt kind of like, you know, in the middle, like I'm an old guy that doesn't really get it, but was able to actually get in there and enjoy it a little bit. So
yeah, you dig in, get your hands dirty.
Yeah. Finally see what it's all about.
Yeah, you did remind me of one thing, which is I think one of the strongest indications of the differences between us as players is that we built like that ramshackle hut the first time that we played to keep ourselves safe, and then slowly sort of filled it with different amenities that you need in order to do Minecraft stuff. And then I played by myself for like a week, and then you would have come back in and I turned it into this like soulless cube where it was like very utilitarian. From the outside, it was just this like big monolith with like 3 floors. Or I was just very detail oriented with it. So yeah, I'm just clearly the kind of person who does not get Minecraft, I think, from like an innate point of view. These are now my Redstone thoughts. I think that there are elements of this that hooked me more than I thought they would. And part of it was the brain rot, which I didn't realize was as enjoyable as it is. But the other part of it, though, is just sort of like there is a sense of like ownership over like, oh, I made this, you know, like this is a thing that I did and it's useful. And it feels good to do that. And so that part of it I was surprised by. I was constantly sort of like chasing that, like, oh, now I can make a fucking utility closet and put a broom in it, which is a thing that would not excite me in real life, but does in Minecraft for some reason. So I think at the end of it, I'm surprised that I actually get it in a way that I didn't with Valheim and haven't in other survival games that I've played. which felt like they were very socially oriented for me. Same with when I played WoW. It was like it's fun when I'm playing it with other people because the social interaction of it made it fun. Minecraft felt like it understood how to drive a player to a certain degree. It just felt like the signals I was getting from it were contradictory to some extent, because it felt like a big open world to explore, but I also felt like I was heavily punished if I tried to explore it. And I felt like the resource management elements of it were a little bit stingier than I would have liked, but that is because of my timetables more than it is because of the game's design decisions. So it was really like a push and pull for me to enjoy this game the way that I think it's intended, or versus the way that I was able to make fun with it. So I feel kind of similarly. I liked it more than I thought I would. I understand the appeal a lot more now that I have played it, and it's just not a thing that's going to keep me going in the way that other games do. So the end. I do want to, I'm going to pull you in real close for this one. Minecraft. You are called Minecraft. The thing that I knew the most about Minecraft was that people made like fucking roller coasters in Minecraft. Why is it so hard to get enough materials to make tracks for a minecart? It sounded like it would be so fun to get in a minecart and fucking ride down into the earth. That sounds like a great time, but I was able to make this dinky ass track that was like 8 squares long, and I ran the fuck out of iron immediately.
Maybe we just rolled an iron deficient realm.
We did. We rolled an anemic realm. It's unfortunate. Anyway, that's how I feel about Minecraft. I'm a little sad to not have a more sort of explosive conclusion for an episode 200. This is kind of how we expected us to feel about Minecraft in a way.
Yeah. Yeah, it's popular for a reason.
Yeah. Sometimes things just are the way they are.
They are the way they are. Solid and unmoving, like a cube.
Like a big cube of dirt. Thank you for listening to the 200th and final episode of NOCLIP this week.
What will we be describing next time?
Oh, a little change up. I like it. For the first episode, we got 2 big things. One, it's everybody's favorite month of the whole year. It's fucking October. It's Halloween. Ooh. So we have our slate of horror games picked out, and we're starting with Mouthwashing, which was a game that was popular when it came out, and I think was suggested at some point in our Discord, but I could be making that up.
Yeah. I know you told me about it, and then I apparently immediately threw that information in the trash and forgot. Because then my sister told me about it. I don't know how she heard about it. And then like I came back to you and was like, hey, there's this game called Mouthwashing. It's apparently pretty popular. And you were like, I told you about that. So that experience made the game stick in my head. So I definitely wanted to do it for Halloween this year.
Yeah, it seems like it'll be, quite frankly, right up our alley. So I'm excited. It seems like a great one to kick off the new name with, because it's like, I feel like it is going to be a thing that we will get a lot out of. So I'm excited for it. I'm also pretty excited for the rest of the stuff we have planned for Halloween. But until that time, you can get a hold of us. All of our contact information is on our website at noclippodcast.com, or soon describingtheskybox.com. And also still on splattershot.pro. There you can find links to our email address, our we'll see. We're going to update the contact page also. So, but
stay tuned.
Yeah, it may be slower to get around to. So stay tuned for that stuff. You can find links to our YouTube channel. or with the let me start again. You can find a link to our YouTube channel. And there you can listen to all of our old episodes, including ones that we did on Valheim, on what's a universally popular game that we talked about?
Super Mario 64.
Yeah, Super Mario
Ocarina of Time.
Half-Life.
Breath of the Wild.
Yeah, Breath of the Wild. We did a few universally popular games that were not made by Nintendo.
Portal.
Yeah. But they're all by Valve.
Yeah.
Sick. Fucking combine sand and gunpowder in a checkerboard pattern to make TNT to fucking blow the shit out of that like button.
Use all of your copper to craft a copper door so that you can open the path up to the subscribe button.
Grow wheat over a painstaking number of in-game days and then feed it to people in the comment section so they'll fucking make a smaller person in the comment section.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.
One last time.
See you on the other side.
Yep.
It's going to be basically the same as it always was.
Yep. See ya in the sky.
We have sky high expectations for this change.
We're really reaching for the skybox here.
Uh-huh.
Bye.
But